What is up, everybody? Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? Where are we at? Who we got in the chat already? Let's see who early. I know y'all don't even get notifications from me anymore, so. But we'll give it about 2 more minutes. Let people get into the chat. It is Mimosa Monday, everybody, which means you can tune in today and ask me anything. We're gonna look at some random news stuff, ask questions about whatever it is that your heart desires, as long as you don't get too out of pocket. Because then I will respond in kind, because that's what I do. Action for Assange, what's going on, people? Doing the Lord's work. Holly Horn, you are awesome. You just catch every stream. I don't know. You catch every video. I don't know how you do it. I don't even catch all my videos and streams. Taj Harper. Hold on, let me turn this up. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Should be good to go. Here we go. All right, there we go. All right. Be kind of weird doing a YouTube video without my face. There we go. Said you got your OJ, Holly. I got my lemonade, even though I'm almost done. I know. I got the party started before you guys got here. My apologies. Nene B, what's going on? Taj Harper, Niko, where do you be getting your shirts? Well, Taj, if you want to try to get like me, I don't know how I feel about that, man. I kind of like have my no play, but no, in all seriousness, I get my shirts from like a lot of boutiques here in Miami, like just random in the corner stores that you would never even think, to go to. I also I shop online a bit. I don't shop online as much as you would think though. Just because in Miami they just happen to have the style that I wore before I moved down here. Same with my shoes. I get my shoes from independent boutiques too, because I like just I like having shoes that no one else has. So, for those of you who may be curious, I have never worn a pair of Jordans for fashion purposes. The only pair of Jordans I've ever owned, no, I've owned 2 pairs of Jordans. Both of them were Russell Westbrook's, and they were strictly for basketball. So, Wallace West, new camera. No, actually, so I have 2 cameras. One I do for live streaming, and the other one I do for recording. Because the one that I do for recording, after about an hour and some change, it can overheat because I live in Miami. And so the one that I have here, still great quality, obviously, but it's just doesn't overheat. It's still 4K and all that good stuff. But the reason it looks like it's, I guess, more super HD is because of the lighting is. I have like my like, for people who've been paying attention, I've moved recently, which a lot of you know. That's why I've kind of been in and out until recently. I've been in and out. Like I can post some days and then other days I can't, because I was literally recording and streaming from my living room, where everybody lives and plays and hangs out. So it was very difficult for me to do that. And then the lighting was off, and I can only do what I could do. Now that we have my studio together, I actually am able to have my lighting good and all my camera set up where it needs to be set up and all that good stuff. So that's why it looks a little bit better than usual. And by the way, I will be starting probably November, the end of November. I'm actually going to be set up so that I can do in-person interviews. So like people like that live in, like candidates or activists or people just looking for an excuse to be in Miami for the winter. They'll be able to come in, and you know what that means. That means whenever Pasta and Fiorella come, or Pasta, Fiorella, and Johnny, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. What about at Express? Oh, bro, I don't shop at Express. Ellie JJ, thanks for the super chat, by the way, man. Appreciate it. Express, I don't shop at Express anymore. I used to shop at Express in high school, man, but Express be taxing for no reason. I don't know why Express charge so much for their damn clothes. Plus, like, I like work out, and I have generally like broader shoulders, and I have really long arms. And Express was not made for black men with broad shoulders and long arms. I have what we like to call orangutan arms. It's okay. They're useful. I don't got the Rajon Rondo 7-foot wingspan at 6 foot tall arms, but you know they're long as hell though. Nene B, are you still doing the foreign policy video series? Yes, I am. I'm doing a video series on foreign policy, and I'm doing one on like black activists. Well, all activists really, but it just happens to be that a lot of the best groups in the 60s and the 70s were black activists. I'm going to be talking about anti-fascism, like where it originated and things like that. That's why I have my other channel, because I'm going to be talking about, on my other channel, I'm going to be talking about the same stuff I talk about here, but I'm also going to be getting the stuff that I'm just like generally really interested in. That isn't like breaking news updates, but it's stuff that people still care about, and it's stuff that I just like talking about, because I mean, if I'm gonna be sitting in this damn chair all day, I don't just be talking about depressing shit all day, because that's basically what I do. It's literally what we do. So Fred Edwards has never been able to afford Jordans. Oh, in high school, bro, no, could never afford Jordans even if I wanted to. I was out there, and I had some and1s once. I was poor in high school. We was poor. I was blessed. We were poor. And my mom was hard headed. So like we were poor, and like we had like extra spending money because my mom would like get food stamps. She would not get food stamps. She would refuse to take money from my dad for child support because she ain't want nothing to do with him. And so whatever she got on her check is what we had to eat and what we had to shop. So I was the get shoes twice a year. One pair for school, one pair at Christmas time, maybe two because grandma would send some. And then if you play with your school shoes outside, well, your outside shoes is now your school shoes until the next school year. So yes, victory in Bolivia, absolutely beautiful thing to see. Oh man, I just feel really good when the guy who literally tried to create a whole new flag, has to take power through a military coup, has to when he gets into the president's mansion there, like he like starts praying, like puts the Bible on the ground, starts praying on their rebel flag, like to like thanking them for ousting Evo Morales. They forgot though. They did forget. They have like a whole ass rest of the country. It like Evo Morales didn't walk into power, bro. I don't know why people keep pretending like that's the case. Like they have a socialist legislature, which led to a socialist Supreme Court, which led to a socialist executive branch. It is what it is. And in my opinion, what just happened in Bolivia shows that with a secure election system, you can even overcome U.S. imperialism, at least electorally. That's why they did the military coup to begin with. So, but yeah, I could never afford Jordans either, Fred. So don't stress it. I can afford them now, but like, why would I get Jordans? I'm not paying $300 for some shoes that were made in a sweatshop in China. It is weird because I guess it's an American. Well, no, it's not an American thing. It's definitely a Western civilization thing. But I do believe it kind of started in America, where people will pay more to look like someone else. That's bizarre to me. I've never really understood that concept. Patrick, thanks for the super chat, my friend. Do you play Ghost Recon Wildlands? The game aged horribly because it takes place in Bolivia and it stopped the USA-backed coup last night. I don't play Ghost Recon anymore. I haven't played Ghost Recon since PlayStation 2. I don't really play a lot of like shooting games. I play Call of Duty very, very rarely if my brother asks me to play with him online. But even Call of Duty, I just can't stomach it anymore. Like, I remember I was doing this. I did a show talking about not this past Call of Duty, but the one that released last year, and like all the connections that they got to basically the Department of Defense, because it was like clearly the biggest piece of anti-Russian, literally pro-jihadist propaganda. Like that's what it was. It was crazy. Glory has entered the chat, ladies and gentlemen. How was your show this morning, Glory? I don't know if y'all did y'all show yet, but I'm assuming it was good. Nini B, thanks for the super chat. Niko, what do you think about New York City Orthodox Jews versus de Blasio? They called them racist and refused to wear masks, but look where the outbreaks are now. I can't speak about the outbreaks in New York because like I'm not there. But if they refuse to wear masks, I mean that's just kind of like what Orthodox Jews do. They probably do have some type of religious disagreements with how we've been going about our science, or I wouldn't call it our science, or at least, the CDC's science. That's what I would guess. They do things their own way. The Orthodox Jews are a little bit unorthodox in their lifestyle, and that's okay. Especially when you consider that Orthodox Jews like just live amongst themselves. And it's kind of crazy that you mentioned that. I know it's gonna sound weird, but the black community has, according to the CDC, suffered more deaths than any other community. But like the Orthodox Jewish community, and that's including in like New York, for example, but the Orthodox community, behaving like you just said, hasn't suffered as many deaths. I don't think anywhere near as close. And it's probably 100% due to the fact that they are in a better financial place. And they also have access to healthcare, like unique access to healthcare in their communities. And I just feel like, once again, it's just economics rearing its ugly head, showing what can happen when you're allowed to actually prosper, even when you do, I don't want to say segregate yourself, but that's basically what they've done in Brooklyn. So, but versus de Blasio, I didn't know what was happening. What was happening with the Jews versus de Blasio? They say he's racist against black people. I don't think that de Blasio is racist. I have heard he is a little bit anti-Semitic though. It is like, I guess they say he's a little bit anti-Semitic because he isn't anti-Israel. Like he's pro-Israel, but has always had issues with the Orthodox Jews in New York, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's how it was whenever I was there. And so that's what's weird. Like it does look a little suspect when you, and obviously for those of you who don't know, the Orthodox Jews in New York are very pro-Palestine and anti-Zionist. So they don't believe in the way that Netanyahu and the Israeli government have been treating the Palestinians. They're avidly against it. So let's look this up. Orthodox Jews versus de Blasio. See what comes up. Man, that's kind of crazy. Literally, the article I found on Newsweek says Orthodox views just versus Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo. So let me see if I can pull this up for y'all so we can read it together. Because sharing is caring. Bring this up. What's news to you? It ain't news to me. Okay. Almost done, and yeah. Actually, here's what I'm gonna do. All right. So, okay, first of all, off. Bye bye. Thank you. And this is why I use Brave. I don't know why I'm not using Brave right now. All these damn ads. Okay, here we go. Let's get. Can y'all hear me? Good. Everybody can see everything. Let's see what Nene talking about. This is from Newsweek, written by Sue Kim. I could actually spell that in Korean in case you in Korean. Orthodox Jews versus Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo. Why New York is battling anti-lockdown protests. It says that let me zoom in a little bit so I can see it. It says that protests held by Orthodox Jews have erupted in the New York City borough of Brooklyn following the announcement of new coronavirus restrictions in New York. Many of the areas affected by restrictions have large populations of Orthodox Jews. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the new restrictions last week to address COVID-19 hotspots that have cropped up in Brooklyn, Queens, Broome, Orange, and Rockland counties. And the governor's office said in a statement on Tuesday. So keep in mind this article was written, I think, on the 13th or the 12th. So 12th of October, so last week. It says that New York, the country's former epicenter of the outbreak, began seeing a rise in average daily new cases from late September after flattening out for months since mid-June, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University. The new restrictions are split across 3 categories: red zone, orange zone, and yellow zone, each of which dictates different capacity limits for houses of worship, mass gatherings, businesses, dining venues, and schools. The new rules also include a $15,000 fine to anyone who organizes a mass gathering. That didn't really give me any details. So my assumption is that so Orthodox Jews in New York not only obviously want to make sure they can worship wherever they want to and however they want to, and that's just how they are, but which is perfectly fine. But also Orthodox Jews have like a monetary incentive to make sure that they can continue to gather and worship, however they want to, and then subsequently run their businesses however they want to. They own a lot of businesses. They do. They own their own community. That's never been a truer state. When they're like, oh man, black people burn down their own community. Like, that's not really a thing because we don't really own our communities unless you're in Atlanta. Like, that's just the unfortunate reality. However, Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn specifically do own their businesses, not only in their community, but outside of their communities. And in New York hasn't really been the best when it comes to unemployment. And they have a lot of kids because it's if I recall, I hope I'm not butchering it, it's a mitzvah when you have kids. So it's a blessing when you have kids. So they have a lot of kids. Everybody there drives Honda Odysseys. Okay, it's a thing. If you live in New York, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so they have to put food on the table, bro. And at the end of the day, the reason that they're mad at de Blasio isn't because of necessarily the lockdown, I would guess, but it's because you're not offering other options. That's what the problem is. You're not giving them the autonomy to be in a position to put food on the table. That's what the issue is. They want to make it an anti-mask, anti-lockdown thing. It's not that, bro. It really is just people want to be able to put food on the table, man. I don't even have kids, but like I have nieces and nephews and godchildren, and when I talk to their parents about like just the fear of not being able to feed their kids, it's a tough issue to deal with. One of the reasons my brother stayed in the military was so that it's something, because he feared that something like this was on the horizon, and he didn't want to remove that blanket of security from his family. And look what happened. He was absolutely right in his guess, and he wanted to get out, and he would have still gotten a decent job. But like, would he still have the job? Get what I'm saying? Because he would have gotten out last year. So would he still have the job right now? Probably not, because first to come, first to gizzo, and that's how it goes. So people just want to, in my opinion, the Jewish community that are largely business owners or work for business owners in their community, they want to just be able to put food on the table, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Who we got? I see we got Ellie JJ. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. 80-year-old dad loved your Don Lemon critique. Oh man, he won't feel no type of way because I started like cussing him out. Did he? I hope he didn't. I know I've been a little bit foul mouthed lately. I know I've been a little bit foul mouthed lately, but I've been getting a little bit irritated. It's getting crazy out here. Tell your dad that I said, Mr. J, I'm hoping that's the name, that I appreciate the love, and there is still an APB out on Don Lemon's barber. We have not seen him. We don't know where he's at, where he may be. We don't know. We still don't know. Mark Peterson, thank you very much for super chat. Thank you for a great channel. My oldest son's 31, 29, 28. Think if they vote for Biden, he will end all racism, rioting, and looting. What can I say to them? Oh man, Mark. Whew. That's a tough age. That's a tough age to try and tell your kids what to think, because it depends on what kind of experiences they had. If you did it, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you did a very, very, very good job taking care of them, I mean literally like taking care of them, providing a foundation for them, giving them confidence that they need to go out into this cruel, cruel world, they're probably not going to listen to you because they're going to think that they're right because you've done a good job as a dad and you've convinced them to be overly confident in themselves. So you kind of have to leave it up to other people, other sources. So send them my way. You know how the game goes. Send them my way. It's kind of hard for people to tell a black man that he's wrong about racism when he's experienced it himself. Like, it's just very difficult. They usually just people, your sons don't know me, right? So it's different. But like people who have skin in the game in the independent media who are like, oh man, Rose Twitter, BLM, ACAB, what's the other one? Antifa, like, hashtag Twitter, hashtag activist Twitter. Those people attack people of color and black people who refuse to vote for Biden, of course, and I refuse to vote for Trump also. But they attack us because they attack white men with, oh, you're just a racist tropes, or you're just privileged. Oh, you just don't understand. How could you do that to those people? They can't do that to me. So it's sometimes more effective to have someone who people believe will be affected by Trump's campaign come out and be like, hey, just want to let y'all know we're not really safe regardless of which campaign wins. If anything, I like what somebody said earlier today. I was in one of my DM groups on Twitter, and somebody was like, they were making a reference to Trump's and Marco Rubio's and Ted Cruz's attempts at imperialism when it comes to Central and South America, and basically it's incompetent imperialism. And for the people of Central and South America, I'm sure they would prefer incompetent imperialism, in which we just saw Bolivia overcome today, versus the streamlined imperialism that we get with Biden, that we've gotten with Hillary Clinton when we got Barack Obama. Honduras went under without a peep, it felt like. Like, we found out after. Their lead activist was killed by our administration. And one of their top female activists was killed by, and like nobody knew about it. Right? Look at what happened in Haiti. Look at what happened in the Ukraine. We overthrew, I think we overthrew one Ukrainian government and then made sure that like our Ukrainian administration, the one that we preferred, was in power for like 2 terms before Zelensky won. And Zelensky's a progressive, but Zelensky was only allowed to win because Trump won, and it disallowed our administration from going into the Ukraine and influencing in the way that they've done in the past, which was largely dependent on the Clinton Foundation. So once again, all that stuff is connected, and Biden is a conduit for all of those different forms of streamlined imperialism. So if I'm gonna have to get a fascist in a civility fascist, I'm gonna probably go with the most incompetent of two evils. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna vote Gloria La Riva. I'm gonna let y'all duke this out. But I mean, I'm gonna challenge whoever wins. But I would prefer the person that when I challenge them, I could tweet whatever I could tweet out a whole lie about Donald Trump. I could write out an entire article based on no facts whatsoever about Donald Trump on my website, post it to Twitter. And I guarantee it won't get taken down. Guarantee it. Because that's fascism I can critique, even if the critique is a lie. But civility fascism is, well, it's what I've always said it is. It's fascism that you are not allowed to challenge. And like I said, I thought that it would have taken until end of January, February, maybe even March or April before the civility fascism started kicking into full effect, where we were literally having our posts deleted or blocked. Didn't even take that long. Happened last week. And people laughed at, hey, somebody need to find Vouch and tell him come back on my show. Or come on my show. He won't, by the way. Vouch is terrified of me now. You know, I'm the only debate that he has had where he knows he got his ass handed to him, so he took it off of his channel. The only one. You're welcome. But in all seriousness, whenever I said, people like, what is civility fascism? I don't get it. That's stupid. The email, and here's what's even funnier. The Biden team and the Biden supporters have basically confirmed that the emails are genuine, that they are legitimate, because they're now passing around the iMessages that were also on the laptop of Biden talking about how much he loves his son. Which means everything is real. They're authentic. Yeah. Which means Hunter Biden right now is in the process of trying to use his dad's leverage to get the same type of deal in China. For real. So that's, you gotta like it. I know it's a lot. It's a very loaded issue to talk to your family about. I've talked to my mom about it, and my mom, my mom's not like a asshole or anything to me about it. She's like, boy, you a little bit too radical for me. I'm like, Mom, I'm telling you, I don't want to vote for a segregationist or a racist. And I don't want to vote for a rapist either, because like I was raised by a single mother and I have a lot of sisters. How is that radical? She's like, well, I'm like, Mom, how is that radical? What about this one we got here? It's crazy. Yeah, Biden's also crazy, but it's kind of a different type of crazy. Like, you know, Trump is a serial liar, right? We all know this. But like Biden is a serial liar, but he's also a serial I forget everything girl. Like, I can't remember shitter. Like, once again, I forgot what I had for breakfast her. And an imperialist her. And also, once again, a serial liar. Joe Biden said that he was arrested for going to visit Nelson Mandela during the apartheid, and that Nelson Mandela personally thanked him for. Bruh! Joe Biden isn't only a serial liar, he's a really, 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 really bad one. He's a much worse liar than Donald Trump. Donald Trump can lie, and like enough people will at least believe most of it because he's a little bit better at it. And that's despite the fact that everything he says the media tells people is a lie. But Biden is a horrible liar, and the media tries to defend his lies with more lies. And I'm like, there's just no defense here. And most people know that he's full of shit. So, Dap the Vegan, appreciate the super chat, my friend. Bolivia overcame what today? Did I miss something? Bolivia got the vote, finally, after the right-wing military coup government tried to prevent them from voting multiple times, because Bolivia actually has a secure voting system. And even in the midst of a bloody coup, a bloody right-wing Christian white-tastic Caucasus coup, a secure election system. And by the way, the right-wing militants were out there trying to bully the voters. And it still didn't matter. Because that's what a secure election system can do. A secure election system is why Maduro is still in charge and why their government is still socialist. Why the conservatives are a right-wing minority in Venezuela. Same thing in Bolivia. That's why they keep getting their asses whooped. Same thing in Syria. A little bit different, but same concept. And I was talking to Steve Boykin about this last night on Slow News Day. On Rockfin, by the way. So for all my Rockfin premium folks, make sure you go follow Steve there. We were talking about the presidents and just how there's just never been a good president. Like, there's been presidents who have done maybe one or two good things. It's not the same thing as having a good president, right? So notice we're the only country in all of the Americas who have lifetime appointments to the Supreme Court, but only 2 terms for a president. And of course, that's actually recent history. That's recent. And by recent, I mean under FDR. And it wasn't FDR who made that decision. It was Congress. And you have to understand that in the context of what was happening at the time, which is what? Who was FDR's VP for the first 2 terms? Henry Wallace. Henry Wallace was a communist. Henry Wallace wanted to desegregate the country. Henry Wallace wanted to pull out of any military assistance to Great Britain as far as their colonies in Africa are concerned. Didn't want to do anything with them. Henry Wallace was anti-war. Henry Wallace would never allow the CIA. Starting to see a pattern here. And now, you would think that in 1940, if Henry Wallace was like that far left, he would be wildly unpopular, right? You would think that. Oh, no. He was the second most popular politician in the country, one of the most popular politicians in the world, the vice president of FDR. See, what we've come to learn with history after that, with the governments that overthrow, the socialist governments that overthrow the right-wing military regimes or right-wing authoritarians that we put in place, they usually stay around for a while, right? Because every other country in Americas has unlimited, as long as you can vote. And then because they also have very secure elections, they know every single time it's the people voting. It's the people voting. And if their government was shitty, they can vote for the complete opposite of that and see how it goes. And if the people like that, then they'll stay. But what have we seen? For the most part, people don't like that. People don't like the opposite of whatever socialism is in the South, in Central and South America. That's why they keep picking socialist governments, and that's why we keep trying to overthrow them. So imagine if Henry Wallace was the president after FDR, and he had 3 terms like FDR, or 4 terms, or 5 terms, or 6 terms. I mean, I don't know if he could have lasted that long, but he was really young for a VP. It would be really hard to get out the guy who wanted to end segregation, who never would have launched an atomic bomb, who would have kept us out of a Cold War, who would have ended our dependence on oil, would have never overthrew Mossadegh in Iran, who would have never launched a drug war, who would have then galvanized people across the country to also run for office and make sure that his policies got implemented. So now Congress is socialist and not racist. Who would have not spied on Martin Luther King, or at least put in at least would have never allowed a government to form entities that could illegally spy on Martin Luther King? Would have never painted black activists as communists from the USSR being backed by the KGB. All of a sudden, we live in a country that is actually altruistic in takes care of its own people, the most marginalized of those people. No one would ever want that government to go anywhere. Nobody. So you know what that meant? It meant we had to make sure Henry Wallace couldn't get a third term, and then Congress immediately was like, never a fucking again limits, term limits. Not on themselves though. So now Congress, beholden to the lobbyists who fund their campaigns, are the permanent power and the permanent influencer for generations. Whereas the president is just a puppet where Congress, I mean, if they try to do, even if they could be overall bad, try to do one good thing, and Congress will still block them from doing it. That's not what we told you to do, Mr. President. We told you to do da-da-da-da. So we're blocking this. Yeah, I know you want a universal health care, Obama, but the Republicans want ACA and our lobbyists want the ACA. So we're going to give you the ACA and you're going to sign it and take credit for it. Thanks. So, yeah. Big Irv, what's going on, my man? Hope you're doing well. You ever have any private people want to invest? Yeah, I have. I've been offered, like, they say, oh man, we want to help you out, things like that. But like, of course, that would require me, for what they're talking about, to give up a part of my company. And also, seeing what they've evolved into, it will require me to give up a lot of my integrity of the show, and I'm not doing that. I mean, y'all know how the game goes. A black man selling out is like the quickest way to get rich in this country. Not wealthy necessarily, but definitely rich, unless you're Oprah. But she's been selling out from the beginning. So yeah, now on the other side of that coin, I've also had people do small investments into our network where they've helped to get equipment, helped us to go on trips to cover protests and elections and things like that. Nothing crazy, but definitely enough to be a blessing to help us do what we were trying to do. Because remember, Irv being one of the people who have been here for a long time, most of us at the time worked like 2 jobs plus this. When I first moved to Miami, I was doing my show with a cell phone. I was working in Boca Raton on top of that, so 40-50 minutes away, and I was doing Uber Eats to get by. And so whenever it was time to go cover a protest or try to upgrade my equipment, or my equipment like kind of shit out on me, it was, some people were kind enough and gracious enough to donate and ask for nothing in return, which is dope. But now we're going after grants. We are trying to put together a co-op. That's what I'm going to be doing over the next 6 months, because it's a process. Seeking training for it right now, actually, as we speak. But Marcellus Wright, Black Sheep Theory, you all remember him? That's actually what he's been busy doing. he's putting together a virtual class to teach progressives how to build co-ops. He on top of doing what he does for us, he's going to be doing a co-op to take food to poor communities and give it out for free. And so he's actually the one who's been plugging me into the network to learn how to build the co-op. That's something I've been trying to do for a while. We just didn't have necessarily the network, in my opinion, at the time. And we didn't have the outreach we do now. And I think that now we are in a position where everybody can contribute in a way that they can do this as their full-time job if we as a network put them in a position to do so. And I have no problem in everyone being an owner here, and everyone being a partner, and everyone being involved in the decision making when it comes to like the major decisions. And that's what a co-op allows for. And co-ops are wildly successful. And we can encourage, hopefully, other co-op businesses, and we can partner with other co-op businesses and start building a legitimate economy for this progressive movement that marries the labor force and the ownership class into one, where we all have power based on our contributions, rather than selecting a union member, one union member, usually the white guy, to represent all of us and then sell us down a river the moment he gets in front of his corporate donors. I'm not talking about Chuck Rocha. Why y'all keep bringing him up, bro? Anyway, thoughts on Hunter Biden's laptop. Beeson Jaser. But y'all be having some crazy names. Thoughts on Hunter Biden's laptop. Many banned for mentioning it. Censorship is part of the issue here. We were just talking about that earlier. I think you saw we talked about it, but bro, it's crazy. It's crazy to see how easy they got away with that. I don't know how they got away with it like that. I really don't. And I gotta give credit to Trump, because Obama would have been quiet. Biden would have obviously said nothing, but Trump, for selfish reasons most likely, but in politics, doing the right thing for selfish reasons is a good thing for us, because that means we can at least push you in certain areas. Civil liberties being one of those for Trump. And of course, if you agree, I retweeted him because it was like this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. Because it's true. We've never seen anything like this. And yet, like Sagar said in his covering of this on The Hill Rising, this is a line. They crossed a line that you can't go back from. And then they lied the same day, bro. They literally lied. They put up, you know how they have like the little Twitter headlines, where they said, Washington Post reports Joe Biden never tried to fire the Ukrainian prosecutor, and never threatened to fire the Ukrainian prosecutor. Except for there's a video, which most of you all know I've covered several times, where he clearly says and brags about, we're in there, told the president at the time, why haven't you fired the prosecutor? And then I told him, well, fine, if you don't fire the prosecutor, mind you, the prosecutor investigating Burisma at the time, if you don't want to fire the prosecutor, I'm going to withhold $1 billion. And he's like, ask the president, I don't care. The president's going to tell you the same thing. And he was like, well, son of a bitch, can you believe that prosecutor was fired by the end of the day? And Twitter posted a literal lie after deleting something and blocking something and banning people for sharing an article that they banned, not because it was false, not because it wasn't true, but because they couldn't prove that it was true yet. The emails were authentic. The hard drive were authentic. The hard drive got subpoenaed. Like, all the documents are there. There are literal receipts of the subpoena, bro. There's literal receipts. And they're like, well, this is hack material. No, it wasn't hack material. It was data recovery from one system in hard drive to another hard drive. And they call him the dude a pro-Trump supporter. Maybe he was. Don't really care all that much. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That's like saying, well, Russia hacked the emails. Well, are the emails true? Are they real? Are they authentic? And what's his name? Colin Powell say? Yeah, they're real. Yeah, I better strap in because there's some more coming out. I still remember that. But yeah, that's just crazy, bro. Everything revolution. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. I took RF readings this summer between Florida and RF readings. What are RF readings? Anyway, so you say you took RF readings this summer between Florida and the West Coast. New to us, millimeter waves are bad for humans and are 500 to 1,000 times stronger than 4G. Health problems are being reported. I'm in Florida. RF readings. Are you talking like radiation? I guess if you're talking about radiation, radio frequency. I mean, like, I really would not be surprised if 5G was really bad for us. I mean, I've seen stuff floating around the internet, and my biggest clue, I don't really necessarily even look at the information that's available to us in the States. I look at how other countries are handling it. Right? If you look at other countries, like the countries who aren't allied with us are like, keep your shit out of here. Right? Keep it out of here. But then like Israel and other countries that are allied with us, that are considered maybe even superpowers in this country, are like, we will sell it to you, but keep that shit out of here. Whenever Israel's like, we don't want that shit, we don't want it, y'all can have it, we can sell it to you, we can work on it, we can make it, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's something that at least people should be paying attention to and raising the alarm about. It's just like food. It's like food, right? Back in the day, people said that GMOs weren't harmful to you. And like, I always joke about this, but I went to a Korean church for a long time. And a few of them, even before I went to the Korean church, I grew up with. Obviously, Koreans are not the biggest or tallest people in the world, at least the generation prior to this one. But the Korean men at my church, once they hit about 16, 17 years old, all were my height, and a couple were actually taller. And their parents were short as shit. It's because most likely it's a diet thing. There's a lot more steroids in our food now than there were before. There's more GMOs in our food now, which stimulates a lot of growth. I know one guy actually was able to grow a beard, which is like not a popular ability in Korea, but he was like a full beard. And so like, and then it was that whole because of the GMO thing started becoming like true, like are being proven true, and Monsanto really began getting exposed. What did they say? It started coming out with this organic idea. And then what happened? Notice what happened? Whole Foods gets exposed. Turns out food's not organic. They were lying the entire time. Amazon buys Whole Foods, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the majority of the ownership there. All of a sudden, nobody talks about organic anything anymore. Super really weird coincidence. When I was in college, everybody wanted organic food. Everything had to be organic. Everybody wanted to shop at Whole Foods. Everybody. Not me, not my ass. I would go there for the lemonade, and they had some really good beer. I was a Trader Joe's kind of guy. Okay? Trader Joe's is the shit. Trader Joe's and Aldi are dope. Because everything is locally sourced for the most part. Food especially though. And when Amazon bought Whole Foods, and of course Whole Foods got exposed, but when Amazon bought Whole Foods, because remember everybody's going to Whole Foods specifically because of they have the most organic food, they have the most options when it comes to being healthy, which was not true, but that's how it was being pitched by the brunch liberals, and then what happened? Nobody talks about organic food anymore. I bet y'all haven't even noticed that, right? Didn't even think about it. I lived in Chapel Hill. It was such a like when I was in UNC, it was like the weirdest trans. Like I was in the middle. You want to talk about California, right? California is like supposed to be this major liberal hub, but like UNC is where people start and they're actually progressive. And like, cause Bernie won Carborough, he won Chapel Hill also. Not gonna say I had anything to do with that. I was just the state director and the president of Carolina Students for Bernie Sanders and North Carolina College for Bernie Sanders at the time. Not sure things were correlated, but he won Carborough and he won Chapel Hill. I was able to build the largest Bernie Sanders organization in the country at UNC. So like, I was in the middle of all this, the woke era being, I guess, reintroduced to the world. And then now after they leave UNC and go to their like cool tech jobs and get their jobs on Wall Street and in finance and things like that, then they become neo-progressives generally, or sometimes even neoliberals, depending on where the money takes them. But I just remember so distinctly people would like laugh at me because I'm like, bro. And my roommate too. My roommate was a biologist, right? Now he's going to school for dentistry, but he was a biochem major. He was like, organic just means that it's like not fake. Y'all do know that. And people get so mad at him. So mad at him. And he was like, there's GMOs in this stuff. There are. Like, and people would literally, we would argue in the library, which I used to call Club Lib, because that was the only way I can get people to go and study in groups. I had to try to make it cool. I wanted my friends to be successful there. A lot of us were transfers, and I used to like send Snapchat pictures and Instagram. I'm like, we in Club Lib, turn it up. Well, we was in there. They're like, man, thought it was fun in here. You even played music in your posts. Made me think it was cool. It is cool to study, bro. Come on. But, and then look what happened. That's what happens whenever the government, any of the companies that the government basically owns. That's what happens when they buy a company. It's a lot of the times to control messages. What I like to call narrative siege. Hey, matter of fact, speaking of which, anybody know how to coin phrases like copyright them or trademark them? I need to trademark a few of my phrases. Neo-progressive. For those of you who don't know, I'm the one who came up with that term. Yeah, I am. Take full credit for that. And I could even tell you how. Because I was specifically talking about TYT and Sam Cedar when I came up with the word. And what's the other one? Civility fascist. Once again, a lot of journalists, surprisingly enough, reached out to me after the People's Convention when I said it, and then gave me credit for it because they wanted to make sure that they were like, hold up, we never heard that before. Whose is that? That's mine, civility fascist. And narrative siege. That's also mine. But if it costs a lot of money to trademark, don't even tell me. I don't want to know. I just pat myself on the back and keep it moving. I ain't about to pay for it. Oh man. But yeah, I don't think that I think it would be silly to not question the safety of 5G. Like, it would be silly to not question the safety of Wi-Fi. Like, if you're exposed to something at a much higher dosage than you were before, too much of anything is too bad for you. Too much of anything is too bad for you. There is never a scenario where that is not the case. Never, ever, 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 ever a scenario where that's not the case. You get what I'm saying? Think of something. Think of something. Go ahead, try it. Think of something. I'm gonna come back and check. Think of things, the most healthy thing you can think of. I can find a story where somebody did too much of it. I found a story where somebody drank too much water in a water drinking contest and flooded their blood cells. They drowned their blood cells and died. Too much of anything, even the one thing that your body needs to survive, it's bad for you. Percy Twine, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. How do you handle the isolation of being intellectually honest? How do you handle the isolation that being intellectually honest brings in its political environment? It's like living between two cults. How do I handle it, you say? Well, Percy, you're in the middle of our Mimosa Monday stream. It ain't called Mimosa Sundays because Mimosa Sundays is not enough, okay? And I know that a lot of people can, feel isolated with all the craziness that's going on. On a serious note, hold up, I don't know why I put that down. I know a lot of people. Black Sheep there. What's up, Marcellus? What's good, man? Good to see you in the chat. I was just telling people about your initiative for worker co-ops. That's for those of you who don't know. Go subscribe to his channel, by the way. Black Sheep Theory. He's the one who's putting together the worker co-op initiative for us. So go check him out. But as I was saying, the isolation is a lot easier for me to deal with, I think, even than some other progressives, because I have Pasta and Fiorella and Marcellus and Robbie and great people like, Steve Boykin and Glory from Slow News Day and then Action for Assange Crew and Jimmy Dore and Ron Pacone and Graham Elwood, and we keep each other sane. I talk to Pasta and Fiorella all the time, but I don't necessarily talk to the other ones all the time, but we check in with each other. We make sure that we're still doing good health wise. Jamaro too, gotta give a shout out to Jamaro. He's been doing some great work lately. And Richie Medhurst too. Richie Medhurst, like, you think you're in isolation. Imagine being plugged in and tapped into both the UK politics and the US politics like Richie is. Like, that man has to feel super isolated. And he's also in a very unique position, I think, because we haven't seen someone come out as like fully independent on their own and find this much success and popularity as an Arab, right? He's an Arab European, and it gives a very, very unique and detailed perspective from a Syrian's point of view on Syria. It has his cousins come on from Syria, and like, being in his situation, it brings even more isolation because he's calling out everybody. And then I know he gets a lot of pushback and attacks because of just being Arab, saying what he's saying. We never really, you gotta be, if you're gonna be Arab, they want you to be like a Al Jazeera Arab, right? You can criticize the US empire a bit, or right-wing politics, or even neoliberal politics a bit. You can be pro-Palestine, but don't be anti-imperialist funding of jihadists. Don't do that. Don't be anti-Saudi Arabia. Don't do that. Don't be anti-UAE. So that's what he's dealing with. So, I've had to take breaks for my mental health. I went through a brief depression for about 3 weeks, which was unique because I had never experienced that before. I actually didn't even know. Like, I didn't know, bro. Like, I had no idea that I was going through depression because I had briefs. So I have ADHD, and when you have ADHD, one of the symptoms is brief spurts of depression and brief spurts of anxiety. But it's not like that all the time. It's in very specific situations. When I was going through my depression a couple of months back, it was this constant feeling of numbness because I guess my brain just got tired of being, hyper vigilant and just hyper emotional about what was happening. And, I have some influence, but at the end of the day, like, I have no ability to stop this. And I didn't feel like in the weight of the YouTube censorship and the Twitter censorship and then the racism and then the smearing and like it wasn't me that I was worried about. It was like, they're doing this so I can't help people. That's what it comes down to. And that was what was like, just made me eventually just go numb. But I didn't have the motivation. I was getting up late. Like I was getting up at like 9:30, 10 o'clock every day. And for by my lifelong MCSE fans, y'all know me. Like I'd be getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, especially before I moved. And by the way, I'll be getting back into this. I would be up streaming at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd be doing 5, 6, 7 streams or videos a day easily. If I didn't do 6, 7, it's because I was like, man, let me just give my people some time to catch up. And so that it does have, especially with COVID too, it does have an effect on you, and you're not alone. But I find like-minded individuals. I think that through this weird time, it's been a breeding ground for finding people all over the country and really all over the world that actually feel the same exact way you do. And it isn't a few of them, bro. It isn't a few. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's a lot. And we've been fine. It's been crazy for me lately. Like, and I don't know if y'all saw my stream yesterday with Nick, MMA Socialist on Twitter. Go follow him if you haven't yet. But we were talking about the fact that like the man was like across, and we not that we agreed on everything all the time, but like we agree on most things. We're both anti-establishment, and you know he's right there on Twitter, right there, right. He's right there. I'm right here, and I have my own show, and he's like booming on Twitter. Never saw each other until after maybe April or May is when we find. But he's been there the whole time. So black people on top of that were like not even finding each other, which is like a unique type of trauma. Like it's like, what the hell? Where the hell is everybody at? Now black Twitter is different. I'm not talking about black. I'm talking about black, like independent minded, progressive. I guess we're gonna call it Ice Cube Twitter now. Shit. And then when we started, so we found each other, and then we started finding each other on Twitter. Like a lot of black people recently started finding each other. And then we started finding each other on YouTube. And, you know, Marcellus found me, Black Sheep Theory for in the chat. Like, and we had our conversation, and he felt the same way. And Fiorella, being a woman of color, was beginning to find other women of color who were as bold as she was, and as honest, and is educated about like the system and its corruption. Like Fiorella isn't going to scream out feminism like to defend white feminists. She's going to scream out feminism to say like, oh, if y'all want equity for women, then why aren't you talking about the way that the women of color are being treated in the movie? Like Nina, like she's defending everyone else. Like she can take care of herself, and she knows we're always going to look out for her. Our team is very tight. We look out for each other heavy. The guy who does case study QB for us, he's a black male too that we found each other, and we met up at Politicon, and his dad's a preacher but was into my show, and he was into my show, and he's he was raised differently, but we were both Barbadian, and his parents came straight from Barbados though, and like we just really started finding each other. And that really is kind of like what has helped me get through a lot of this. Just being able to have a conversation with somebody to remind myself that I'm not the crazy one. These motherfuckers crazy. It feels like we're crazy sometimes. But, man, Yogi Fish said you were a kid back then, Niko, but you're an older person now. Man, I feel like it. I look like it too. It's crazy, man. We've come a long way. 2016 to now. You know, for a man, that's what I like to call, you know how you know a man matures? It ain't because it's his beard, even though that's kind of weird that I couldn't grow a beard until like 2 years ago. Not even a year and a half ago. It's not the beard. It's not like a dude can be big as, you can see some football players that like they look like grown men at a young age, right? Ain't that? It's what I call the big ass head effect. For some reason, when men hit their physical prime, not even, sometimes. We just get big ass heads. By the time we get to about 30, 31, 32 years old, from 25 to 31, 32, you get a big ass head. And I've always had a big ass head. My head wasn't ever this damn big though. But now my head big as hell. That's how I know I'm older and more mature. I don't know why Marcellus laughing like he don't got a big ass head too. He's 6'7". His head don't even fit on his body. That's why he grew dreads. You know what I'm saying? That's why I grew my hair out. That's why I grew big. Y'all need to see how big my head is. Every man thinking, go look at your pictures. You can have the same haircut for 9 years. Go back and look at your picture. Like, bro, I look the same. What is it that, like, for me, everything on me basically looks the same. From the time I, like, 23 years old when I got out the military, and I was bigger then, right? So I even would have said, like, depending on who you ask, I looked more mature then. I was like 240 pounds. I used to go to the gym 3 times a day because I love working out. So you fast forward, yeah, I grew a beard, but nothing changed. I still look young. That didn't change. And you start doing, like, you go do the swipe. Damn, bruh, my head's getting big as hell. What the why? So that's why men will look more mature. They can have the same type of haircut and everything, but their head gets bigger as they get older. Big ass head syndrome. That's what I call it. Case study. What's going on, bro? Why are you up right now? Oh, you didn't work yesterday, right? That's right. Man, you be working. Hey, bro, I've been catching y'all. I saw a couple of y'all most recent clips, man. Y'all go check out Political Junkies and Political War Room on MCSC Network's page. They're doing some great work. They digging into the details. They're having uncomfortable conversations. They're having a lot of laughs. It's a really fun show. When I was on it, it was a great time. It was dope. So go check that out. And of course, you all know the clips that he does is putting everything together, really putting mainstream media on Front Street and showing their hypocrisy. He puts a lot of those clips together on Twitter. So go check those out too. Bethlehem. I gotta give a shout out to Bethlehem. Bethlehem. It's okay. You're late, but you're only a little late, like an hour. You're only a little late. You know, black people, if you an hour late, that's okay. It's gonna be an hour and a half late. Dap the vegan, thank you very much for the super chat. How are you able to connect with like-minded people? I feel like I'm not the right person to ask because I'm kind of in a unique position. I'm not gonna, like, obviously I connect with you guys because y'all find me basically, and y'all for some reason decided to stick around. I don't know why, but y'all here. So, but I'm also like a naturally I'm like a conversationalist, I guess. Even though I'm shy, like I am shy. Like, or I won't say I'm shy. I'm to myself more than what people would think I am in person. If you talk to me, however, I'm going to reciprocate the energy that you put out there because I like making people comfortable, and I don't like wasting people's time. So if someone invests the energy into wanting to converse with me, then I'm going to return that with interest. It's just the type of person I am. But when I do that though, for whatever reason, usually just a crowd of people just show up. I don't know, it's a weird thing. It's always happened. It happens. Like, I know people are like, oh, well, it's a political event. Yeah, it happens at political events too, of course. But I'll be at a bar where nobody knows who the hell I am, and I'm talking to the person sitting beside me. This happened not even like maybe a month ago when I went out in Wynwood, and there's like 3-4 people show up. It's like, oh, bro, I was thinking the same thing. I didn't think anybody else felt like that. And then somehow we always end up talking about shrooms and make friends. That's what happened. So what I would do to find like-minded people, once the pandemic is over, or if, you know, things have calmed down in your state, just go Talk to people. Go outside of your bubble. Make conversations with cashiers. Make conversation with the proletariat, with the labor force. That's what I do. I talk to my Lyft drivers always talk to me, bro. I think it's the blonde hair, cause like it happens more now than ever before. Lyft drivers always want to have conversations with me, and I think it's because of my blonde hair. So they're like, "What are you here for?" And I say, "Oh, I'm here for a political event," and they're looking like, "For what?" Who the hell wants you at a political event? So then we end up having a conversation, and then it turns out that like you'd be surprised at how much of the working class agrees. You would. And you make a lot of friends like that. A lot of acquaintances. Go follow people on social media. DM them. You know, like, yo, I really fuck with this tweet. And people love compliments. You can make a friend off of one compliment on one tweet or Instagram post or whatever. Just put yourself out there and let people know you're looking for like. That's what a lot of black people had to do on Twitter. We couldn't find each other otherwise. We were like, yo, man, hey, fuck all that. Where are my black people at? Where are my black independent-minded people not voting for Biden and not voting for Trump? Where the hell are y'all at? Because it looks like we not here. And then we began to find each other. And now there's a pretty significant like leftist sect of people, like black people on Twitter that have coordinated and found each other. And we've been able to shout out the Trap Suit podcast. We were doing the debate the other day. We've been able to find each other, but it's because we went to go look for each other. You know what I'm saying? And from different backgrounds, different areas around the country, different even ethnic backgrounds. Like for me, I'm part of the diaspora. Like my man's case study over here, Bayesian, and there are people who like MMA socialist, Nick, the MMA socialist. He's from the rural South in Missouri, I believe. Right? Got people in Texas, all raised in different environments, all have different upbringings, but in a similar way, all have a connected and unique struggle that a lot of us had kind of been trying to figure out. Like, bro, am I the only black person that thinks like this on Twitter? Like, that isn't a blue check. Like, I don't want to know. No, them blue checks. I don't trust blue checks like that. Y'all know how I am about blue checks. I want to know, because blue check black people, they get put on that seesaw. You know they get, or no, that mechanical bull, they get jerked. They be progressive one day. They be progressive as hell one day. But then when white establishment blue check Twitter, Yankster, oh, just kidding. Gotta get Trump out. So we kind of have to depend on ourselves there. But you got to put yourself out there. 100%. Wallace West. I know you made amends with Mike Figueredo, but I've noticed he's starting to sound more like TYT and still isn't objective or dives deep into Tulsi's policies. I never expected him to dive deep into Tulsi's policies because he's just not a fan of her. Like, and if she was still running for president, I would probably talk to him directly about that. But at this point, where we are right now, I'm more concerned about people knowing what's happening overall. And, on Mike's channel, Mike will choose to do what Mike chooses to do. I don't agree with it necessarily, but we've talked in the past, and I understand where he's coming from. And I do believe, if I'm being frank, YouTube is not making that situation any better, because everybody has taken a hit. Not because partially because some of it is because people have tuned out. But if that was the case, then I'm seeing upticks on all of our other shit, except for Twitter, where there's like a little bit more suppression. So outside of Twitter, we're seeing upticks in all of our other stuff, our website, our Rockfin site. We're seeing it. And with YouTube, I don't know if y'all know what click-through rate is. A click-through rate is when somebody sees you get an impression when somebody sees your shit, right? Suggested views, whatever. Click-through rate is how often someone will click on it when they see it suggested. An average click-through rate, to my understanding, is about I think it's less than that. I think it's like 3 to 4%. Maybe 4 or 5% for bigger channels that are like just entertainment and have like super, super loyal audiences. Maybe average would be, but like our click-through rate, bro, we be at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we had one the other day that was 12%, which means people want to see our shit. They like it when they see it. They're just not given any access to it. And that's not just for us. It's largely for people like Mike Figueredo, who is like, has a little bit more of a, I'm not gonna call him a neo-progressive, but I'll say that his audience, because of how much of it comes from TYT, is a little bit neo-progressive. He isn't getting as seen as you would expect for him to be seen. And so what that does, when you don't have another way to get any income, it just naturally begins to draw you towards content that you believe will get people to not only click when they see it, but check back in. Like some of you people are so gracious enough to do on our channel. Y'all check back in often, which is why we post so often. But how many times have you come to the channel, like show of hands in the comment section, by the way, how many times have you come to the channel and have not, and like, you're like, hold up, they posted 4, 5, 6 videos in the last 24 hours. I didn't get an update about this. Like, think about it. You know what I'm saying? Is what it is. Mike is a good person, even if I don't agree with him. The fact that he was, I reached out to him when his dad passed away, and I was like, at the time, the only person that had done that. And even though we had our disagreements, that's something hard. We used to be friends at the time. Now we are friends again. But and then we talked about it, and through our disagreements, I'm like, look, when it's time, when it gets past this election, and it's time to address the policies, I definitely want to see. I would hope that we're aligned on where we need to go when it comes to policy, and I would love to work together on that. Can't always agree on personality. Me and Mike have 2 different backgrounds. What's important to Mike isn't necessarily all that important to me, and vice versa. And just because he's wrong, in my opinion, when it comes to some stuff, doesn't mean he's not acting in good faith. And I wouldn't suggest that about him, because he would have never had to come on with me otherwise. You get what I'm saying? But like, there is just this natural inclination when you have to put food on the table. Mike has a family. When you have to put food on the table, and when YouTube is doing what it does, and and you don't have another way to do this. This is your full-time job, or another way to make income, and this is your full-time job. This is just the way it goes, and this is why it's so important for you all to join Rockfin. The link to that, by the way, is in the description. Rockfin has helped people like myself. Steve, Slow News Day, he's in the chat right now. I see you, Steve. What's up? Glory's on the team now. I'm just Glory gonna blow. Y'all, hey, right now, y'all better buy y'all stock in Glory Jones. Y'all better buy your stock now. I'm telling you. Steve bought the stock before I did. I mean, not literally. We both fuck with her, but Glory is part of Slow News Day now. Because she lives in California, but that's all right, Steve, because when she has to move back to Florida eventually, because nobody likes California, not even you, she's gonna be right in here, bro. I'm just letting you know, so we have an understanding, since y'all both in the chat right now. But you gotta support things like Rockfin, because like, it's about to go down. It's the November 3rd is the beginning. For real. Glory said, I have a will of my own. Thank you. That I know, Glory. You had a will of your own. That's why you will be helping us out over here. Appreciate you. Now, you know what's going to happen, Steve, right? Her and Fiorella going to break off from us, and they going to start their own show. And me, you, and Pasta, and Johnny, and Josh, and Andy will be sitting in the corner like, ain't this about a bitch? It's some bullshit. But y'all make sure y'all keep up with Glory, bro. Y'all better keep up with her. All these little, I know y'all seen all these little weird incel activists that have been spiking up on YouTube lately. Like who, I guess they tried to make careers out of making fun of like us, like the MCSC network. It's weird. Somebody sent me one yesterday, like 2 days ago. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a dude just who has multiple videos dedicated to us. And I'm like, bro, what? How influential do y'all think we are? Listen, anybody who wants to attack or smear us, I need to let y'all know something. We are not that important. We are not important enough for you to make money off of attacking us. I'm just letting y'all know now. But I'll tell you this too, though. We are important enough to make sure that every mainstream, independent-minded progressive that you could think of will not fuck with you if they catch you attacking us. So your career will end before it starts. I can tell you that, but we're not important enough for you to make money off attacking us. We're not. But some people are trying to make this a thing where they attack. They called, I didn't get a cool name though. They called, which is sexist as shit. They call Comic Con the casting couch. It was weird. Cause I'm like, what is this dude? Supposed to be a socialist. And that's about the most sexist name. I mean, what else could it possibly mean? Right? And even though he called Fiorella a fairy tale, and I'm thinking like, I mean, that doesn't sound like all that insulting. Didn't have a name for Pasta, which is not surprising because nobody ever attacks Pasta, which is weird. And for me, it was some lame name. I'm still mad about it. I can't remember what the name was, bro. I really can't remember what the name was. It was that. I was a little offended by that. But yeah, man, there's some weird incel shit. There's some weird like little young white boy like thing on YouTube where they think that like they can attack us and it'll make them some kind of money or bring them fame. No. It won't. We're just not that important. And using our names in videos, by the way, will get you suppressed, you idiot, because we're actually talking about things that should be discussed. Like, so you're not helping your channel by tagging people and talking about people who are suppressed. Like, duh. Like, duh. You might be hurting your channel, honestly. Glory, you're 100% correct. Vouch is a plant. Bro, to this day, I'm still convinced that Vouch is a CIA plant. Bro, I'm telling y'all, I worked in the intelligence unit. My brother was in intelligence. I lived in Fayetteville, worked on Fort Bragg. And for those of you who don't know, that's where Delta Force is, Special Forces. Like, it's a hub of military fuckery. It is. Okay. I got family who are still like tangentially attached to the intelligence community. Like, intelligence assets behave in a very peculiar but very specific way. It's almost like every like type of profession like that, they have a tell. So like whenever the protests were hitting their peak and you would see these Antifa protesters walking around in boot-cut blue jeans, boots, usually military grade, and a goddamn dad cap. Bro looked like the feds. I don't know how you can look like a walking meme of like what a fed would look like, but like it was obvious. Vaush looks and talks like the feds. If you've ever watched, like, his weird obsession with Bernie or bust people, and you notice how he repeats stuff, right? He calls everybody who disagrees with him a Bernie or buster. I was a surrogate for Tulsi Gabbard. If Bernie lost, if Tulsi B. Brown, I was gonna vote for Brown. Hell, if Andrew Yang even won, I probably would have voted for Andrew Yang, and I would have spent probably like the next 3 years roasting him on foreign policy, but like, I might get UBI. That helps a lot of people at least. Like, but to classify or to codify everybody who disagrees with you as a Bernie or buster is like weird on its face. And then to dedicate all of your time debating, quote unquote, Bernie or busters. And then if you've ever watched a debate with him and any Bernie supporter or, independent minded person who's not voting for Biden, he gaslights. But it's not just any type of gaslighting. It's a very, very, very specific type of gaslighting. And I think a lot of you know what I mean. And for me, I genuinely believe his goal was to try and destroy me because Vaush had been avoiding me. I don't know if y'all know. Vaush had been avoiding me because he kept getting tagged and he was accepting everybody else's debate. And he had just debated Nick, actually, the MMA Socialist for Twitter. He had just debated Nick. And even after that, he was still kind of avoiding me for a bit. But I ended up catching one of those weird waves that, we catch sometimes when the establishment forgets we're there and they let us get a little bit too popular, a little bit too quick. And what he did, by the way, share this tweet. Or not share this tweet, share this video. I forgot to reshare it. But what he did was try, when he realized, which is what most people do, he realized that he couldn't out debate me. That shit was out of the question. That was never going to happen. So he immediately tried to flip it and say, oh, well, nah, you're just stupid. Define fascism. I'm like, well, hold up. You first said to describing the ways Biden's a fascist. Then he was like, nah, define fascism. I was like, well, if what I just described as a fascism, then give me your definition, and I'll let you establish the grounds we argue fascism on, since you think that my description wasn't sufficient enough. And then, of course, what does he do? For those of you who saw it, he literally had a 30-minute conversation and whined about the fact that I wouldn't define fascism, even though he was the one who had a problem with my description. Right? Then, when that didn't work, because shout out to Pasta. Listen, y'all. I'm a man who understands the society we live in, but when I'm debating, I just debate how we've always debated. And so when debaters get passionate, for the most part, like when I was young, nobody really thought anything of it, right? I guess black debaters are so rare in my region. So I guess nobody really thought anything of it, but it was like in fact, I would say that I won a lot of debates because I was very passionate. But in the real world, when a black man gets passionate, it's called being angry or emotional. When a white man gets passionate, it's called being passionate. So Pasta gave me the advice, rightfully so, a long time ago, a couple of years ago, during one of my very first debates. Whenever you see people try to gaslight you, because they know, white men know, and get you emotional, get calmer, and and watch them get madder. So that's what happened. The more he tried to gaslight, I was like, all right, Vouch, so are we just going to go back and forth? Because if you want me to roast you, I can. But I thought we were here to debate. If you don't want to debate, then I could just go on with my life. Like I have stuff to do. He's like, oh, so you have stuff to do now? I'm like, well, yeah, Vouch, I'm a journalist and I run a network. Yeah, I do have stuff to do. He's like, so you just can't define, and he kept going. So then he said, I don't understand. You're being so rude. Like, oh my God, like you were so nice on Twitter. Why are you being so rude? I was like, Vouch, I have not even been rude to you yet. Trust me. And he was like, whoa, bro, are you an e-gangster or something? Are you an e-gangster? Now, at that very moment, ladies and gentlemen, that very moment, he was trying to send me over the edge. And people falling for it before. His whole goal, when he realized he couldn't get me out of my element, he could not debate me. When he began to read the definition of fascism, he realized, oh shit, these are applicable to Biden. And like, bro, I opened up the shit with Biden using his vice presidential executive power to disallow other countries from lowering their cancer drug prices right after his son died of cancer. Nobody ever enters a Biden debate like that. Nobody discusses. Trust me. He didn't know what to do. When he said e-gangster, real shit, it took everything in my soul to not light his ass up. And I was like, actually, I just said, e-gangster Vouch? Really? Okay. So you don't have anything to say, basically is what you're saying. That was it. And he rage quit. And once again, to this day, Vouch does not have our debate on his channel. Because every debate he thinks he wins, which is all of them, he thinks he wins them, he keeps them all up. Our debate's the only debate he don't have on the channel. And I wanted to expose him. That was the whole goal. And I did it. Because he was so easy to predict. And he rage quit. And took the video off the channel. And now is scared to respond to me. Or mention my goddamn name. And the tweet that I put out telling the world that Vouch rage quit got 2,000 likes, bro. Like right after. But here's what was interesting was the way that like Vouch's support, Vouch's base that came out of nowhere from 2019. They all responded I'm talking about at the exact same time with the exact same tweets, bro. With the exact same tweets. And I've only met like Twitter accounts that I know like are genuine, like people who aren't weird, like because there's some people who like just follow trolls because they like trolling and they just love people who troll. That's a thing. There's also troll farms. That's a thing too. Go look it up. Bot farms are real as shit. But Vouch come out of nowhere when he did, not really being smart. Like he's not really that smart of a person at all, actually. He's well spoken. But he's also well spoken in the way that you would expect someone in intelligence to be well spoken. He's like that very, very, very specific type of well spoken that if you've ever interacted with someone, like a young person in the intelligence community, that's exactly how they speak. You know, they say a bunch of shit without saying nothing. And then when the bots all started quoting the same thing, because they were trying to ratio the tweet before it got shared. Everybody, the people who are following that, remember on Twitter, what they try to do? Oh, they're like, yeah, look at this ratio, bro. Look at this ratio. Look at this ratio. Define fascism. Except not even 10 minutes later, so they had like 200 tweets instantly when I tweeted it. Instantly, bro. Instantly. When I tweeted it, though, all right, after it was like literally 10 minutes, bruh, yeah, that ratio ain't go the way he expected it to go. Because the people who are like alive and breathing and real all hate Vouch. And he got ratioed. But it is my wholehearted belief that Vouch is a plant, whether he's a Democratic, a Democratic establishment plant. Like, bro, anarcho Bidenist is the most CIA ass title I have ever heard. Like, bro, I like you don't know what words mean? Oh, but he knows what they mean. Like, bro, you cannot, by definition, you cannot be an anarchist authoritarian. Those don't make sense. But all the anarchists today, on Twitter anyway, are like authoritarian as shit. So, here's what it is. But nah, bro, it's crazy. Like, but I think what's scary about Vouch is like how clear and obvious. Like how clear and obvious. Bro, it's already weird when people come on Twitter. You know, y'all see it, right? They make an account in August of 2020, but they got 40,000 tweets and 26,000 followers. But like nobody likes their tweets, but they always have one tweet like, I just quit meth. Can I get a retweet? My mama just died. Can I get a retweet? And they get a bunch of tweets. They get a bunch of retweets and likes. But then like right under that, we have to defeat Trump. Bruh, just to let y'all know, for context, obviously, this is like my job. I do this all day. I tweet, often. I've retweeted, or I am retweeted often. And bro, I've had my account since 2015 and I just reached like 44,000 tweets. Just reached. So like when you just think about that as a reference, when you think about people popping up in August, September, October, your job has to be to tweet non-stop. And on top of that, it's almost impossible anyway to do that because the amount of times you have to tweet during the day would actually cause your account to lock up. Unless you got some type of pool. The amount of times you have to tweet during the day and the amount of followers like that you would have to follow that many people back, bro. It's whenever I tweet out, like I try to find like-minded people too. And when I tweet something out, I try to follow everybody back from that post. That's why. But bro, it's hard to do because, which is why I do a lot of the posts, because you get blocked from following that many people at once. It's crazy. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Oh, wow, so you said Sam Cedar CIA? Oh man. Yeah, I mean MSNBC, it's CIA. They hire a bunch of CIA people, so I guess by extension at least. Through the transitive property of intelligence grifting. But nah, he's just really shit when it comes to politics. North American Ape, thank you very much for the super chats. Love the point you made yesterday on not knowing who MLK voted for. It's my main issue with the left right now. Folks declare that they're settling for Biden and then wonder why the left always loses. Thank you very much for acknowledging that. And you are absolutely right. Like I said on Twitter yesterday, like the Democrats literally created the Transitional Integrity Project it's mostly former Obama administration people, they're willing to go to war for Donald Trump or with Donald Trump and with independents and with conservatives, even if Trump beats their ass. Like, and it's a very clear victory. They're already talking about sending people into the streets. Already. Even if they have to fake a contract. We saw what they did with Russiagate. We saw that. And yet and still, progressives get cheated in broad daylight, bro. They have a lawyer admitted in a court of law. And they're like, man, but we got to get out Trump, though. Well, why? Why? Well, because, you know, the immigrants, you know, well, what about all those immigrants that Obama deported, and then all the countries all their countries that he destroyed, and then the cages he built to put them in, and the private detention system that he basically fortified and propped up. What about that? Well, nah, man, but Trump just said some really mean stuff. I don't give a shit about mean stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I care about what he's saying. I mean, I do care about what he's saying, but once again, effective fascism, ineffective fascism. I know everything that Trump is saying. Why? Because it does not ever leave my timeline. I cannot escape every bad thing Trump has ever said or done, even the thing that he's allegedly done. I have not seen one mention on my timeline from a mainstream media source. Not one mention in a debate. Hey, Biden, why did you plagiarize someone else's speech? And how did you feel whenever you were basically forced to drop out of a presidential race when that was the case? Nothing. Progressives aren't ever willing to go to war with people who cheat them. But Trump's people are willing to go to war for Trump. Hillary's people were willing to go to war for her. Biden's people were willing to go to war for her. But like the Bernie wing, no. Not saying that's everybody, by the way, because I was at the protests in 2016. I spoke at those protests. There was a lot of people out there, thousands and thousands of them. But like, it damn near stopped after that. I guess I can't say it stopped completely, right? Because Hillary lost, so it was a step in the right direction. Because like, Trump's base was solid. They went to war for him. They did. You can talk all the shit you want to, but they went to war for that man. They still are doing it. But Bernie's base shouldn't have stopped at, whoa, Hillary lost, so now let's just, and I get it. Part of it was, oh, well, we still think we have a chance because Bernie is definitely going to be running again. Like, that's how people thought about it. But like, you know, me, I started the DNC for a lawsuit while the election was still happening. Like, I've been ready to go to war with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I've been here. A lot of us have. But then where on the right, the people who are like battle ready, like TTG, like train to go, like they, you know, the Mike Cernoviches and these people who were really like, because for all you can, the reason that they get so much love is because they are always in the streets and they're always ready to go hard for their people and their policies. So they get elevated. They get elevated for being like that. On the left, if you're ready to get out there and put it on the line for yours, you get suppressed and you get attacked for it. You're called crazy because they don't want you interfering with their comfortability and their brunch. They want to feel. They want to feel like they're doing a bunch of stuff. They want to feel like they're conscious. They want to feel like they're part of the proletariat. But they don't want you to holding them accountable and expect them to do anything about the current situation. They're doing pretty well in the current situation. So that's what it comes down to. Thank you for that super chat, North American. Hey, I got that one for Wild West. Cable Guy 707. I watched Vouch for a while, but after that debate, I realized he's extremely divisive. Like, you have to be part of his circle or you're not a real leftist. right? And what's even weirder, once again, is like he's not a leftist. He's just not. I see plenty of people that can say Medicare for all. I see many people who can go to Google and define communism, I guess, from Google. I see many people who can call neocons. That's super easy to do. Does not make you a leftist. Matsuri, thank you very much for the super chat. Can the progressive movement ditch AOC and Bernie? Form a party for a Tulsi and Jorgensen campaign in 2024. I would say, I mean, it's cool that there is there are alternative parties. There should be, but fuck all that noise, because at the end of the day, our system is corrupt. What's the point of forming another party, another new party, when we don't have a secure election system, and then there's a bunch of state laws that prevent them from getting ballot access and then maintaining that ballot access. Like, I'm pretty sure there's damn near, like, maybe not as many registered Democrats in like the state of Michigan as there are, there's not as many Green Party registries as there are Democrats, but there's a lot of them, and yet the Democrats get to like maintain constant ballot access, where the Green Party is constantly having to refight for it. And then the Green Party gets cheated because they're not given any access to work in any leadership position in these polling locations. And whoever counts the ballots, that's who determines who wins elections nowadays. Once again, we should be embarrassed as a country. We should be embarrassed as a country when a country under the authoritarian rule of a military coup has a more fucking secure voter system than we have, to the point where they can overthrow the coup through a damn electoral process. That is embarrassing for us. What Bolivia did is amazing for them, but it's embarrassing for us, because we're not even in a full military coup. But our election system is so horrid that the people have been convinced, well, I guess the candidates with the most popular policies that can reach both the left and the right, I guess those are actually just not very popular things. I guess the candidates who are independent minded are not really the most popular candidates whenever 40% of the country is independent, or more than, I think. Yeah, no, it's 40%. So there's more independent people than conservatives or than Democrats and Republicans, but yet people buy the narrative that they're not actually the biggest like voter bloc in the country. It's confusing. But I mean, it's conditioning, of course. It's propaganda, of course. But like, that's how bad our electoral system is. And that's the goal of the electoral system. That's the goal of this Biden push. You know that. If Biden wins, then we told y'all Medicare for all wasn't popular. We told y'all people like corporations better than small businesses. We told y'all people like imperialism and all the benefits that come from that. And to be frank, the last thing, right? Imperialism in all of its forms, domestically and internationally, people do love the benefits that come from that, despite what people may believe. I know the left likes to think that, oh, well, most of the left is anti-imperialist. That's not true. That isn't true. A lot of our friends on the left love being the ones on top. And they love sometimes pointing the finger, playing, hero, white savior, white knight, in some situations. But they also know, they love the fact that they nothing really they can do about it. Nor would they want to do anything about it. Nor would they really want to like, those people aren't like the gray zone. Gray zone is just on a different wave, bro. Gray zone's on a different wave. Max Blumenthal and Anya are in Bolivia right now. Ben Norton's in Nicaragua right now. Aaron Matei, it just depends on where. It just depends on the month, Max Blumenthal went to Venezuela to interview Nicolas Maduro. They're on a different wave. Most progressives are not like that, even if they had the funding to go do that. They like the benefits of imperialism. Why wouldn't they? That's how they're a lot of progressives who end up doing this. You see people grow fast. They feel like they have equipment like that. They have the quality like that. It's a little bit easier to do that now, but back in the day, like 2-3 years ago, it wasn't as easy to do this. But they have everything because they had security before they even started doing this, and they got bored and was like, oh man, I can make some money doing this. And they had the time, and some of us, like I said, going home, man, look at my old videos. Bro, black under my eye. I'm tired. I've been up. I'm sleeping for 3-4 hours. But people love the fact that they can talk like they are on the side of the marginalized, but still getting to enjoy all the benefits of imperialism, and of course, never really being put in a position to do anything about it. Is what it is. Can the progressive movement ditch we talked about that. Just covered that. But ditch AOC and Bernie? Yeah. I mean, we should be ditching everybody. We should be talking about policy. Like, period. Should be talking about, Assange and what Snowden's going through, and we should be talking about history. So the left, because the left doesn't know its history. Man, that's what's weird, I guess, too. The left doesn't know its history. And I think that's a large part of why we are where we are. Are you familiar with ranked choice voting? My state is voting to implement that in a small scale. It sounds appealing. Ranked choice voting is good if, and only if, your election system is secure. And it can't be in a machine, or it doesn't matter anymore. I hope I didn't miss anybody's super chat. But like I did, maybe I didn't. But yeah, ranked choice voting is good, but we don't just want ranked choice voting in a vacuum. There has to be a, like when they're like, get rid of the electoral college, and that's where they stop, right? That's where they stop. Get rid of the electoral college. Why? So 3 states can decide the outcome of the entire fucking election? No, I think not. I'm good on that. I would rather have the electoral college than the popular vote. Why would I want that when only one side really does have like complete, like between neoliberals and neoconservatives, neoliberals who basically are neoconservatives, but just with a different, that different look, you know what I'm saying? They might have purple in their hair instead of blonde. But the neoliberals control the majority of the information, and like, to be frank, they control the culture. CAA talent agencies and UTA talent agencies run Hollywood. If you don't know, and this has been a thing for a while, and they've had a hell of a lot of controversy surrounding those agencies. This is like historically speaking. And they've run Hollywood, and they're in the pockets of the Democratic Party. They're basically running the Democratic Party damn near, it seems like. And so you got all of Hollywood on your side. And if you even step out of that bubble, just step away from it. You don't even gotta take the Tulsi plunge. But mere silence right now as a celebrity will get you gone. It will get you gone. Facts. So they got control over entertainment, most of the mainstream media, a lot of the independent media, the tech companies, definitely, the internet, investment banking, venture capitalism. Bro, they have control over that too. You really want the popular aka the propaganda vote, to be determined to be the determining factor on who runs the country? Because the popular it's just like always in history. The popular opinion at the time, during, especially in our country specifically, the popular opinion is 90% of the time the wrong opinion. The popular opinion is usually the wrong opinion in this country. Whenever desegregation was passed, it was not the most popular thing at the time. Whenever slavery was ended, it wasn't the most popular thing at the time either. I don't know if y'all know, there was like this whole war about it, and a lot of people didn't want it to end, and people like were really like families were willing to go broke to fund the other side, and you know, but economically, don't fool yourself into thinking it's completely about race. It was a lot about economics, but it was what was necessary, even still, for the country to survive. And so now we don't have slavery. Wasn't the most popular idea. Equal rights for marriage was not the most popular idea 4 or 5 years ago when it was legalized. Marijuana has definitely always been popular. It's probably the only thing that we've gotten right. Let's be honest. Probably the only thing. But if the popular vote should not win. Not in a country where if you are on the popular side, or what I like to refer to, if you're on the Taylor Swift side of the popular vote, Taylor Swift's music is shit, and so is your opinion on who we should be voting for. So, yeah. So, no. We have to reform our entire system, re-educate. I cannot stress that. We have to re-educate. Oh man, Steve said, look at how Daniel Ellsberg was treated during the Pentagon Papers compared to now. The U.S. only makes you a hero after you're no longer dangerous. Yeah, right? Look at how Daniel Ellsberg was treated, but then when Mike Gravel came back out, and you know, he was also responsible, and went to court, got taken to the Supreme Court. And the only reason he's, I think, survived that shit is because Nixon ended up getting voted out, or forced out. But when he was out of the picture, you know, they was kind of like, okay, well, I guess we'll let him chill. We'll be okay. But then when he came back and joined the race just to piss people off, they were like, oh, nope, got to smear him, got to keep him off the debate stage, got to lie about it, you got to attack him, That's what happens. Popular Bernie, y'all had Bernie and Tulsi. And to be frank, Bernie supporters, y'all were wrong. It's okay. Now, some people who were doing it pragmatically because you thought he had the best chance to win in the environment that was available. Okay, that's different. That's a whole different conversation. I get that. But there were some people who thought that Bernie was better than Tulsi on policy. You were wrong. That man couldn't even get Assange, Snowden, and Manning correct. He couldn't even get that right. Couldn't get election integrity right. Damn, I can't even go into the other stuff yet, because you can't even get the most obvious shit right. So why would I think that you're the best candidate whenever the other candidate basically thinks mostly the same as what you do on domestic policy, but also is way better on civil liberties and also just like introducing legislation? Like, that was a big deal for me too. Like, but Bernie was the popular one. And that's where the money is when it's popular. When you're popular, it's where you can make money, you can build your clout, you can get Twitter followers, you can be cool, you can do little cool hangout gatherings, throw little pro-Bernie parties, and make new friends because you didn't have no friends in high school because you're like a band geek and you're like a band or a theater nerd or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I finally have friends because Bernie's so popular and now so am I. But y'all were wrong. It's okay to admit. Look at everything going on right now. Like, Bernie sold y'all the fuck out. He sold his own team out. He threw Brianna under the bus. Well, shit, she don't work for my campaign anymore. She's not on the payroll anymore. Just saying. Just saying. There's nothing wrong with that. There's genuinely nothing wrong with being wrong when you thought you were doing the right thing. But when you do learn that you're wrong, you gotta acknowledge reality. That's what you do have to do. And it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. And some people have. Actually, I would say a lot of people are starting to get like that. A lot of people have begun to understand, like, damn, yeah, I maybe got I got this one wrong. Which, by the way, it was easy to do because there was clearly an immediate attempt. What do you think, like, people like Voucher were for? That's what they were put there for. People like TYT, that's what they were paid for. The moment that Bernie reannounced, there was the neoliberals joined forces and said, hey, y'all, let's pretend to be him. Go on YouTube, pretend to speak like him and all his supporters, and then flip the script on them. So it is not like it's not like they like you could that you were impervious to just the same natural influences that many people are. Like, that's not the problem. But when you can't admit that you're wrong because of your ego, well, that's a lot of the problem. And, like, to be frank, a lot of people were with the Bernie movement because of their ego. Nothing to goddamn do with policy. The moment that he threw Tulsi under the bus, remember, when on The View, when Meghan McCain was like, hey, she defended you and you were getting shit out the debates, shouldn't you do the same? And he threw her under the bus immediately. That should have been the biggest clue of what was to come. That should have been it. That should have been it. That was it. That's why I told people, I'm like, bro, the progressive movement don't really have all that much emotional intelligence or social intelligence, to be frank. That is something you learn fast in the hood. When somebody's willing to throw you under the bus like that, don't bring them back around you, bro. Don't bring them in your house. Don't bring them on your steps. Don't tell them none of your business, because you know what they're about. And that's what happened. If they're willing to throw you under the bus, like if you see one of your homies throw like one of their homies under the bus, and you're like, what the fuck? Oh no, you got to go. I'm not fucking with you no more, because you're next. You're not safe. I'm gonna get these last two super chats and I'm gonna get up out of here. I got a long show later too. Nate Dog, Niko, you like Chris Hedges? Love you, Niko. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the love. Of course, Chris Hedges is Chris, man. Chris got a lot of heat too over the last 4 or 5 years, didn't he? Because he was trying to tell everybody about Bernie and nobody wanted to hear it. And he's a little bit more unapologetic about it than I was. I was being nice about it. He was not. Because, Chris got some experience and some tread on the tire, a little bit of tread left, but he got some, he been wearing it down a little bit, and he tired of the bullshit, and I feel him. I feel him. I'm tired of bullshit. I'm only 31 years old, have not been doing this anywhere near as long as Chris Hedges has. But I'm glad that he's finally getting, once again, the respect that he deserves. Tim Cena, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. I'm a big fan of your channel, Niko. Maybe even a Patreon. I'm too lazy to have less time to keep track. My request: can you talk with Sad Guru? I don't know who that is, but shoot me a DM, and I will look into that person and see if it's something that we can manage. Appreciate the super chat, Chim. I think I got everybody finally. I think I did. Oh, also one thing. So like the big difference between like the hardcore Tulsi supporters and like the hardcore Bernie supporters is like that the hardcore Tulsi supporters were like cool. We've had friends before. We didn't get in the movement to get friends. It's not what we supported policies for. I'm just saying, like Tulsi was like the bros bro. Like you can't get any cooler than military, surfer, MMA, Polynesian, like fantasies of Joe Rogan. Like you can't get any cooler than that. And she also attracted like really, really cool people, which is where you get the projection of Tulsi, right? Because that would imply a person, because of them, they supported Tulsi because they are involuntarily celibate. Now, as you've probably noticed, Tulsi supporters are by and large really good looking, if I do say so myself. And so with that, the people who do have daddy issues, poor emotional intelligence, poor social intelligence, have been outcast, they tend to be very combative with people who are very secure with themselves. Just even in a regular environment. I mean, I've always been like even though people liked me because I was a Bernie bro at the time, you know, back in the day, we've never got along like that. Right? Because as soon as we would all go out and they weren't the center of attention, they would take it personal. So it's all I've like never gotten along with a lot of these people. I won't say like we fought, but we never got along. So just being, I'm gonna tell you like it is, and ain't nobody's gonna tell you like that. But I'm just being real. The ugliest motherfuckers was in lamest people that never leave their house, don't have no friends outside of their little Twitter little following. Like I got friends, I go out, bro. Like we go to bars regularly. I'm just being real. My wife is gorgeous. She is the shit. And she knows it as well also. And my mom is gorgeous. And my brother is handsome as hell. And my sisters are also gorgeous. And we're all cool as shit. We're just really cool people. Everybody that's hanging out with us. And that's why I didn't rely on policy or a candidate and their little clique for my social life. And so it allowed me to think clearly. But a lot of people don't have that. And you know, that's fine, but it does have real consequences on the way you process shit like politics. Just saying. Glory, you silly. Glory. So my nickname in my like the group chat for my childhood friends is so my brother's nickname is Tropicana Q because his name is Quentin and he's the Juice Lord. That's what we call him because he is. And mine is, oh man, hold up, don't let me forget. Oh, Jimi Hendrip, actually. Jimi Hendrip. There you go. That's one of them. They also call me Biko Bands, but that's for a different reason, which we can't really get into on camera. But oh, actually, that was my nickname in middle school, Jamal. Niko Suavo actually was my nickname in middle school, which was weird. I never really got that. I thought I was pretty lame in middle school. I thought I was pretty corny. Not gonna lie, but that name traveled with me all the way through the military. But yes, Jimi Hendrip. I like that one. That's the one. That's the one. I'm like, yeah, that's a good one, guys. Let's go with that one. My adopted brother's name. He's cool as shit. He's Costa Rican. Boy, is smooth as what? Psh. His name is Box. But his nickname is Sugar Free Poppy. One of my other friends, his name is Josimar. He's Jamaican. We call him Juice Mar. My other homeboy, Dave. Oh, we can't. I can't say that one on camera. Um, but a female called him, like nicknamed him Dave the Sex God. Never had sex with him. Just assumed because he could dance, he was just great at sex. Just assume that, and it just stuck. And when he's like, because he's half Panamanian and half like white, like white, like Michigan, outskirts of Michigan, farm. His grandfather owns a farm with horses, white, like that kind of white. Whenever he's like in front of people, he just meets them, he don't know what he's like. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Dave. Nice to meet you. But then like about 2 shots to Don Julio, and you know, Lil Baby come on, or Chris Brown or Drake come on. That's Alejandro. That's different. It's a different person. That's how he all of a sudden his shoulders start bouncing. We're like, and people were like, "Yo, hold up! I thought he was white." We're like, "You never said that." Yeah, I have a United Nations of friends. It's been like that too. We've been friends for like decades now. It's kind of crazy. No, Gloria, you do not have to call me Jimmy Hendrip. Mr. Drip will be just fine. It's okay. You said Tulsa took a National Guard promotion in San Francisco. I did not think. I don't think I knew that. I thought she was just there to. Is she moving to San Francisco then? Well, no. She's gonna have to fly there every damn month. That would suck. Man, if she decides to run for governor of California, woo! She can run for either one, I guess, at that point, couldn't she? You don't call me Mr. Drip either? Well, that's just disrespectful. I'm still your elder, Lori. Come on. Mr. Drip is fine. So Jamaicans always got a second name half the time. Don't even make sense. Yeah, that's true. Chad is how I learned what bomba clot meant. I didn't know until we became friends in 6th grade. Because his mom would always say it right before she would smack the shit out of him. Him and my other homeboys, my other friends that I met later on were Jamaican too. You get hear them outside the they get cussed out by their dad outside. We'd be outside of the door, you know, everybody's hanging out on the porch back in the day, which is not as much of a thing anymore. It's crazy. I feel like I was so fortunate during my childhood to like be outside with my friends during my childhood. I feel like that's not as common today. You'd be like, Bombo Clot! Bruh. I remember when his dad popped out the door because Manny, is my homeboy, screamed that shit. His dad popped out the door, quiet as shit, and smacked the shit out of him and went back in the house. Bruh, Jamaicans are different. The Jamaican parents are different. You can get your ass whooped with no explanation. Right then and there. In front of your friends, in front of the social worker, and if the social worker complain about it, then the parents whoop their ass too. Like, that's the shit Jamaican parents be on. Steve, you should leave California. Everybody should leave California. If you don't leave California, well, you might not make it, bro. It is kind of on fire still. Kind of on fire still. Oh man, Edwin said Tulsi about to regime change Cali. Man, I don't think a lot of people would agree. That might be the one place that a lot of us are like, man, maybe we should use some regime change up in there. I ain't never seen a state or any situation like that where y'all got like a top 5 economy, not like in the country, like as a state, but in the entire world, just as an economy. And nobody knows where the hell y'all money goes. Like, at all. All right, man. Let me get up out of here. Y'all about to have me out here for forever. I got a show to prepare for later. I got a bunch. I got to upload. Man, love you guys. Had a great chat as usual. I will be back around 5 to do the actual show. We're gonna talk about the Bolivian coup. We're gonna talk about the Russian censorship, or not the Russian censorship, the censorship, because they're blaming Russia, as usual. We're also gonna cover the Roland Martin interview for Ice Cube. Definitely, we're gonna cover that. That was crazy, and I think that's it. And probably some other stuff too, some other stuff along the way. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream AMA session. We will be back. Hold on, let me make sure I'm going to be back next Monday, because I might be with my brother. I think we'll be back next Monday. Hold that thought though. Think we will. If I'm on the road, we might just do one while we're on the road. It'll be fun. So if not, then I'll probably do the AMA on Tuesday instead. But we will do another AMA next week, and especially given how close we are to the election, I want to do more of these because it's about to get cray-cray. It's about to get cray-cray. Thank you very much for reminding me, Glory. Thank you very, very much for reminding me. Go to my other YouTube channel. Subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff on there that like isn't necessarily involving specifically like politics and keeping up with all this shit. Like it's going to be a little bit more just free flowing, and politics will be a massive part of that, but we're also going to cover some other stuff too. Like shrooms. Shout out to Steve. I'm going to have Steve on. We're just going to talk about shrooms for an hour or two. Maybe even while we're on shrooms. I probably have to have somebody else run the show if we do that though. Also, follow my Rockfin channel, rokfin.com/Niko. The link should be in the description at the bare minimum. The Linktree link should be in the description. And you should click on the Linktree link, because if you want to support the show through Patreon, if you want to endorse us through Rockfin, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. All that stuff is in the Linktree link. So you can go to one place. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.